Hey guys, this is Fuller. The Blood Mage hero is finally here. We got so many new cards this time, so think dark cold hearted magic, raging highborn elves, and tremendous power at a price. This will all be playable in the mod. I'm gonna add his cards in next along with the Death Knight. So once again, I'm really looking forward to your feedback and thoughts on this one. Alright, let's go. Here he is, Kel'Thas Sunstrider, and a special treat, we got a brand new card skin made by Mockfall once again. If you remember his awesome Tinker Hero skin from last time, well, he's made a Blood Mage one this time. So eventually every hero will have their own unique skin, really setting this all apart. The hero power remains the same. I cut the wording down a bit. 2 mana, gain 3 mana crystals, this turn only, and take 2 damage. So very close to the Warlock hero power, you gain an extra mana crystal for a turn at the price of 2 damage. So this is a huge tempo lead, as every turn essentially you're always 1 mana ahead of your opponent. At the price of health, of course. Because how powerful this hero power is, like Warlock, I had to be very careful with how strong the class cards are. Let's go on to them. Pretty much every card has been remade. Starting with the minions, the first one is Mad Arcanist. For 2 mana, she's 3/2 with, when you draw this card, deal 2 damage to your hero. So similar to Flame Imp and Zombie Chow, really good stats but with a drawback. Of course, if she's in your opening hand, no drawbacks. Later on, drawing her can be crippling though when your health is low. On to Hawk Rider. For 1 mana, he's 1/3 with, your opponent has spell damage -1. It doesn't affect hero powers or battle cries, but any direct damage or area effect ball clears get punished, making it harder for your opponent to clear your board. Consecrate, swipe, the usual turn forward game swings suddenly aren't as scary anymore. Next we have Blood Ritualist. For 2 mana, she's 2/3 with, whenever a spell is cast, restore 1 health to all friendly characters, so you can convert spell into life. This triggers on enemy spells as well, so again a slight bonus against board clears. If any minions survive, that is, they'll be healed back up by 1. It's also great as your hero power will constantly punish your health over multiple turns, so gaining back health from a few spells is really beneficial. This one's the only one that remained exactly the same. It is Ember Mage. For 3 mana, he's 3/3 with Battlecry, make a minion ethereal until your next turn. So to recap from the last video, ethereal is a kind of a mix of stealth and freeze. A minion that is ethereal can't attack or be attacked. It disables taunt until it wears off, and it also takes double damage from anything. So you can use it on an enemy minion to stop him attacking you for a turn, but then you can't attack that minion. You can also disable taunt, as I said, and you can combo it to do double damage with battle cries, hero powers or spells. You can also protect your own minion from being attacked, but remember, double damage makes it pretty risky. This one's my favourite minion. The old version ended up being in the new expansion. So Fire Sorceress. For 3 mana, she's 4/3 with, Battlecry, your next spell costs 1 less and has spell damage +1. Obviously great if you can throw out a damage spell with this. We'll get into them soon. A pure tempo play, she's got good stats and lets you grab a lead. On to Corrupted Invoker. For 4 mana, he's 3/5 with, whenever your hero takes damage, give this spell damage +1. Like an Ogre Magi with a bit of a twist, your hero power will automatically charge him up, as will Arcanist and a few spells you'll see. Help set up one almighty big turn of burn. Now for the legendary. It got a slight mana cost buff, I kept the rest the same. It is Allah the Phoenix God, Kel'Thas's pet. For 7 mana, he's 7/5 with Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to all enemies and summon a Phoenix Egg. The Phoenix Egg is 0/2 and at the start of your turn it kills itself and resummons Allah. You can potentially keep recycling him then, but killing a 0/2 is pretty easy for your opponent. His stats aren't brilliant, but his Death Rattle puts on a lot of pressure. Now for the spells, starting with the secrets. All secrets are just 1 mana and there are 4. So again, remember, power level wise, they can't be too strong. but I tried to keep them playable and as interesting as possible. The first one is the same, is Living Bomb. For 1 mana, when a friendly minion dies, deal its attack in damage to a random enemy. Be interesting if you got this down with a Ragnaros, but in any form of aggro type deck, the damage can definitely add up. Onto Lava Shield. When your hero takes 5 or more damage, before the damage is dealt, gain 6 armor. A pure efficient defensive spell, slightly conditional but gives a lot for just 1 mana. The real question is, can you make a control deck with this hero? Next, Arcane Academy. When your hero is attacked, summon 2 1/1 Arcane Cadets. Like Mirror Image and Snake Trap, can work in an aggro deck, quickly flooding the board with minions. There's a spell coming up as well that combos with this really well. This is my favourite secret, it got completely remade. It is Spell Steal. When your opponent casts a spell, add a copy to your hand, it costs 1 less. Careful if you know he's got the coin, otherwise you can get some really interesting spells to play back against him. Onto the basic ones first, Shadow Blast. Very simple, for 0 mana deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Since the hero has a lot of spell damage boosters, this can be pretty big eventually and can be used as a late game finisher. Next we have Banish, it's exactly the same. For 1 mana, make a minion ethereal until your next turn. Very strong in aggro decks and decks with battle cries or damage effects from minions like knife jugglers. This one got some new funky art. It is Obliterate. For 1 mana, deal 4 damage and destroy 1 of your mana crystals. Very similar to Soulfire. If you're running a deck mostly of cheap stuff, the drawback actually isn't so bad. Another revamp is Arcane Spikes. For 3 mana, deal 4 damage, randomly split amongst enemies, and draw a card. Like Fan of Knives and Arcane Missiles, kinda mixed and combined. Great with spell damage again, like Fire Sorceress. All classes usually have a kill spell, well here's ours. Do you recognise what old hero this came from? We have Soulburn. For 4 mana, destroy a random enemy minion and deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So he throws up a Sludge Belcher, you blow it to pieces and keep going face. Even in control it can have its uses, kind of a mix between Deadly Shot and Siphon Soul. Last one is Siphon Blood. This was unchanged. For 7 mana, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions and restore 3 health to your hero. It could be made to gain health depending on the damage dealt, but for a basic spell and a basic simple board clear, it might be a bit too complex. This way it always gives you 3 health regardless. This one's interesting, is Mana Overload. For 2 mana, give your minions spell damage +1. So that's all your minions. Remember that Arcane Academy secret? Well, essentially any board flooding or token summoning effect can really pay off here. You can deal a massive amount of damage with just a few spells and a few minions. Speaking of spell damage, can you see the combo here? Smolder. For 2 mana, deal 1 damage to an enemy, then deal 1 damage to that same enemy. 2 damage for 2 mana is pretty bad, but as it's separate it gains double effectiveness from spell damage. Imagine this with a Malygos, 12 damage for 2 mana. Last damage spell is Bombard. For 2 mana, deal 4 damage and deal 2 damage to your hero. Cheap, efficient, but damages yourself. You also have to be very careful with spell damage as the self damage increases as well. So now overall the hero has many options when it comes to dealing damage with spells. One final one is Blood Ritual. For 8 mana, restore the health of your hero to 20. A massive health gain, but very expensive. Best value if you're down to 1 health, but very unlikely you'll get that scenario. Alright, that's it for this hero guys. It took me quite a while I know, but I wanted to make sure he felt right. There's still room for more minions, spells, legendaries, maybe even one more secret. Do you have any ideas? The skin is up on half cards now, so feel free to make some Blood Mage cards. And put a link in the comment or email me. How about a minion that's permanently ethereal, or a legendary that has some clever way of having a ton of spell damage? How about a spell that deals damage and restores health based on the damage dealt? Next up, I got a mod update coming. Also, some new common cards I've been brainstorming. Got any cool common cards? Send them to me as well. Please like, subscribe. Thanks guys, and see you all next time.